Hi, I'm Sam, and today we continue learning the beautiful C++ language. Today we will open a code editor for the first time, see how it's organized, and also write our first program. So, our main program will be Visual Studio 2026. The C++ version we will use is C++ 20 as an alternative to Visual Studio. You can use devcpp or code blocks. I'll say, as someone who has been programming in C++ for more than a year, devcpp handles its job well, debugging and code editing, but only at the very beginning, when you as a programmer don't need to include external libraries, and if you need C++ version C++11 or lower. The last time I programmed in devcpp, it only supported C++11. Code blocks is better, but still worse compared to Visual Studio, at least in my opinion. Let's open Visual Studio and work on our first program. The main interface of Visual Studio opens. We see the lines: create a new project, open project or solution, open a folder, clone a repository. At this moment we need create a new project. Click on it and proceed. The project selection interface opens. I can see CMake projects, uh, MFC app, and tool for working with kernel mod driver or KMDF. But today we won't need those. We scroll and need the line console app. Select that. Now we must enter the program name. Let it be our first program. And click create, and the project is created. We see the main program interface. Here we see many lines. Maybe you think the program is overloaded, but don't panic, or we will figure it out. Let's delete all the code that was generated automatically and get a little familiar with the program. In this course, we will mostly be interested in only a few tabs. File. Here we can create or open or save files and project. In this item, we will edit the properties of our project. Throughout this tab, we will include and exclude various runtime environment functionally, as well as work with external libraries. Build. This tab is responsible for building the project. That is, using the build solution function, we compile the project, combining all code files into one big executable files. I think a bit later I will tell you about programming in C and NASM language. There I will talk in more detail about architectures, files, what they represent, and so on. Next, debug. Throughout this tab, we will run code with various settings, with debugging, without debugging. All of this is neat and useful, but we will look at it in more detail when it becomes necessary. The other steps and items will not be very necessary for us, so we will skip them for now and come back to them only absolutely needed. I'd also like to point out the bottom local Windows debugger. This button is mainly responsible for running the application at early development stages. Later on, someone we will need to run application without debugging, or we will develop application for both Windows on Linux. Then local Windows debugger won't be very useful. Next to that button, there are two drop-down lists. They are set to debug and x64. The first one, we choose solution configuration, and the second one, we selected bitness of the program, x32 or x64. In the context of software design and development, x86 and x32 mean the someone thing. Now let's start writing code. First, we need to include the standard C++ library that allows us to output something to the screen. Write include IO stream with the hash sign and angle brackets around IO stream. IO stream stands for input output stream. Then go a little lower and write int mine, followed by regular parentheses and then curly braces. What did we just do? We included the standard library into our program, and we made the entry point of the program, the main function. In one of the next videos, I will explain what functions are and how to work with them. Next, let's write a string output statement which look like this. Std c out hello world. This is the simplest form of string output. Let's see what happens in it. The first thing we see is std. What is that? That is a namespace. Imagine we have circle, some smaller, some larger, but we have one big circle. That is the language, our beloved C++. Then there are smaller circles, those are namespace, and we also have even smaller circles and smaller owns. Those are functions and classes. A namespace is a big circle through which we can access further functions and work with them. For example, here we say we are using the function cout that is located in the namespace std, not some other cout. Next, you might have an interesting question: why do we use them, and can we not use them at all? I answer: namespaces are needed so that we don't get confused with identical functions. Suppose there are two functions get. One shows us the screen size, and the other shows how many programs are open in the background. To prevent our program from confusing the two get functions. We put one into the namespace screen and the other into the namespace kernel. Thus potential errors go away. Can we avoid reading the namespace before each function? Of course, we can write at the beginning of the program using namespace std. That's way we apply the namespace to all functions, but please be careful with this feature because sometimes it can lead to errors. Next comes the cout function, which actually outputs the words. Other it comes the indication of what we are outputting. Then we can specify what we output, how, what conditions, and so on. That area is indicated by a double left angle bracket. Next is double quotes. We write what we want to open. Here it's hello world. Other that there is a semicolon. With the semicolon, we mark the logical end of the statement. That is, we write an output statement and then show that the statement is finished and we don't want to do anything else. For example, we can move part of this statement to another line, like this. And there will be no errors because the semicolon gives understanding that we have finished reading the functionality. Now let's run the code and we will see the code runs and everything works. We see hello world. What next? Let me show you what else we can do. We can write the output statement like this. And the output will be exactly the same. And look. So, next I'd like to tell you about those green lines that were in the code. Those, my friend, are comments. Comments in code are lines that are needed only for human. The compiler doesn't see them and cannot execute them. You can make a single line comments like this, and you can make comments spanning an unlimited number of lines, like this. So, there are for now the basic method of working with C++ code. Today you learned what a C++ program is, what the standard library IO stream is, learned about namespaces, which we will actually talk about more because the topic of namespaces is broad. You also learning about the main function int main and also what a comment in code is. In the future, I will fully break down the standard library IO stream, show how to work with input and output strings, and we will experiment together. And subscribe and drop a like and share in the comments what we should cover. See you.